In less than 2 hours, two legends joining forces. President Trump is going to be interviewed by none other than Elon Musk, just 1 week after 45 was interviewed in a live stream on Kick.
All right, but as for Kamala, well, she's doing everything she can to avoid a sit-down interview. And like most issues these days, the Dems are divided. You've got radio host Charlemagne the God saying this.
She does need to do more interviews. I mean, it's the bottom of the ninth inning, right? Like, I feel like she should be any and everywhere, you know, having these conversations. I truly don't know why she hasn't, you know, done any interviews yet, because.
Oh, yes, you do. Then on the same show, just one commercial break later, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar dismissing concerns over Harris's 3-week stretch of near silence.
21 days, Jonathan.
3 weeks?
She started running for president. Before that, she did tons of interviews. She's done interviews with you. She's done interviews. I'm sure she's going to do interviews.
Join us now, Fox News contributor and Washington Times opinion editor Charlie Hurd and host of the Michele Tafoya podcast, Michele Tafoya herself. Both of you, welcome. Charlie, I'm going to come to you first. I love the senator from Minnesota talking about how she's done a lot of interviews, but just not while she's a candidate for president. What impact do you think this has on the race? Can she hide in the basement, not do interviews, or is she going to have to get out and take questions from the press?
Well, first of all, I'm not even going to give Amy Klobuchar that she's done a lot of interviews before this. I don't even think she has, but she certainly hasn't done any since she started running for president, which is the problem. Look, the media can do all they can, and we have seen it over the last couple of weeks, do all they can to prop up the campaign and to speak for her, and to, they can leak her policy switches and things like that, and they do a pretty good job of putting wind under her wings. But at some point, the honeymoon ends, and you've got to come out and explain some of this stuff, especially when you have altered your positions on so many important issues. And so she's going to have to talk. And it's going to become abundantly clear that not only is she not the swashbuckling, rabble-rousing guy like Donald Trump who can talk to anybody about anything and sometimes even get himself into trouble, she can't talk at all without getting herself into trouble.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears to Walz, and then we can just do a jump ball.
Yeah.
She over here is from Minnesota.
I live
so
there,
that's why,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So there's been plenty said and misrepresented about his time in the National Guard. Most notably, this is according to Pete Buttigieg, what he said back in 2018.
I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
To be clear, Walz never in combat, but Pete Buttigieg still defends him, calling it a slip-up.
The fact that they have to go back to find a clip from 2018 to find the one time that he slipped up when he talks about the weapons of war that he carried and said something instead about carrying a weapon in war. It's kind of an exception that proves the rule in terms of how hard you have to look to find Tim Walz saying anything that isn't precise and accurate.
Oh, my goodness.
Michele said, oh my.
I did.
She didn't curse.
I didn't. I tried to keep it together and not curse. But Tim Walz has so many falsehoods under his belt. Of course, Buttigieg is going to defend him and say, oh, he slipped up one time and they really have to dig for one thing. No, many people have said time and again, oh, we thank you for your service serving overseas. He was in Italy. He spent a year in Italy. He never stepped foot in Afghanistan or Iraq, as he has suggested and has been suggested about him. So this is not one slip up. And we could go through myriad things that Tim Walz has failed at in Minnesota, where I happen to live and have lived for 30 years, that has brought the state down. He just has this, you see the personality, and he has a way of convincing people that everything he says is authentic. It couldn't be further from the truth. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
But to that point, I think if you made one slip up and we had that on tape,
right,
that doesn't stick. But if you then also misrepresent, Charlie, your rank to the American people and to the campaign as well, he talked about going to war all the time. I think it's those mistakes that are not accidental. This is intentional. He's trying to misrepresent what he did in the military. Impact?
For 20 years, he has lied repeatedly over and over and over again about his rank and about his service. He's a liar. he has lied about it. But one other thing that I just think is kind of interesting in that little clip we played a minute ago, one of the many, many examples where he lied about his record is where he talks about wanting to end reciprocal carry. So that what basically he's saying there is he wants Minnesota and other states to be able to jail a woman who has a concealed carry permit in one state because she has a stalker. He wants to be able to jail her for carrying her concealed weapon in another across state lines. That's what he's talking about right there. And they dress it up, and he likes to talk about how, oh, I'm a hunter and I'm a gun owner, but you want to jail lawful, law-abiding citizens who have concealed carry permits if you cross a state line because you don't like guns.
Yeah, and bring me your children for chemical castration.
And meanwhile, don't educate the children who are already there. We have the massive achievement gap in Minneapolis and St. Paul and across Minnesota. Half of our kids cannot read or do math at their level. It's a disgrace, and they spend so much money on education. I mean, as much per student as you would spend at a private school, and they can't get the job done. And that's on Tim Walz. It has happened under his watch.
Well, I'll tell you this. So my old district butts up to almost Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the amount of people that have left Minneapolis, St. Paul, and are coming to northern Wisconsin with their money, with their resources, with their jobs, it's astounding. And it's because of Tim Walz's policies, and especially Tim Walz's policies during COVID, when he was having the snitch lines.
Snitch lines, and kids had to go to Wisconsin to play hockey because he wouldn't let them play in hockey rinks in Minnesota.
Don't mess with hockey in Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Don't do it.
All right, 4 full nights to fill at the DNC next week. That is 16 hours. What in the hell on earth are they going to talk about? Because there's no agenda, there's no policy.
Yeah, no, I think it's just going to be a bunch of box checking is what, because that's all they do. And that's why, of course, they missed the Tim Walz stuff, because they just thought, well, he checks all these boxes. He owns a gun, he has a camo hat, and he served in the National Guard. And they never ask anything beyond that.
Except I thought white men were the biggest problem in America. Like they were the biggest threat to national security. Were white men, and here we are with an old white man.
Well, the old white man brought joy to the campaign.
Oh,
I think
joy,
it's going to be
yes.
a 4-day love fest of joy.
Oh, keep digging, people.
Charlie,
There is a song, Ren and Stimpy, Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy. They could sing that for 16
They could have
hours.
Beyonce sing it.
Charlie, Michele, thanks for being with us.
Good to
Great to see you guys.
Great to